And about such technology that I wonder, then if you have any new technology that you are concerned a lot about in terms of a new type of attack or a new type of disinformation campaign this year or moving forward many years to come, any technology you are really concerned about?
I think that one of the many threats that we see right now is the fact that it's becoming increasingly easy to, let's call it, digitally cross borders, right? There's no effort into this. It's very easy to adapt to the not only the Japanese language, but the Japanese culture, the Japanese social norms, and sort of integrate that into disinformation campaigns. And I think that creates a lot of reliability into those threats. And look, our differences, they need to be the same, right? And one of the important points here will be that we need to make sure that cooperation, and it is essential, cooperation has to happen to make sure that these threats that are evolving so fast, they eventually just, let's call it, they get resolved and remediated against very fast. But maybe to touch on these threats, the major ones that we see, again, would mostly focus on, we call it the harmful AI. So the AI driven, it's being used for a lot of good things out there, a lot of good things. It saves a lot of time. It augments a lot of the jobs that are existing in the workplace today, but it comes with a price in our field. Because a few years ago, even I'd say 2, 3 years ago, a lot of the actor and content piece of informational chaos was not even a question of allowed, but you didn't have the tools or the means to fully falsify it. And today, I think, and I would believe that Suyama-san would agree with me as well. Today, with the click of a button, you can falsify the source, the who you are. You can completely automate and falsify the way that you push a narrative out there. And you can also look at the content itself, as we said, with Gen AI, and you can just change an entire reality of content with social norms implemented into this. So I think that the biggest threat right now is the simplicity at which anybody has access to it, right? Anybody has access to it. So anyone can very legitimately or nefariously press a button, push a narrative, and hope for the West, and a lot of times actually hopes also for the worst. That's the real problem there. So it's the simplicity at which these tools are accessible for anybody, if you're asking me.
Okay, understand. AI for everybody and everybody can be your actor moving forward. All right, I see. In Japan, that I believe we also observe some, AI-driven tactics. And do you have any idea how we can neutralize such AI-powered, disinformation campaign?
I briefly touched on this question, I think, in the last comment, but I think I will detail it a little bit. So first, this kind of countermeasures should not only within, for example, in the social media, but it should be more holistic and comprehensive approach to counter the threat, because they are affecting in various layers, and it requires also the approach from the various perspectives. In terms of social media discussion or fakes that it's presented every minute, basically what we need to do is to understand and recognize this, because without knowing what's happening in there, we are not able to react properly. And since social media discussion tend to flame at some point and spread very widely, but not all of the discussion would go this path, and most of the discussion might be just viewed maybe several hundred times at most, depending on the followers. So in this context, detecting some information, maybe the potentially malicious one or the fake one, early as possible, it's, I think, one of the crucial points, because in this way, we can stop this content from spreading further, into the public. And to do so, rapid detection system is very important to have for fighting the disinformation in social media. Also, we need to collaborate with the social media platformers, obviously, because like detecting the fake is one thing, but like whether this will be deleted or at least like commented with, for example, like some community notes in X and now in Meta platforms. So this kind of action need to be done. And to do this, I believe Japanese government and Japan also need to engage with various social platforms. And this is kind of one of the difficult points for Japan because most of the platforms are in the other regions, especially in the US or maybe in China. And collaboration between them can be kind of difficult from legal perspective because Japan does not have the legal framework. So one of the option would be, to utilize this kind of community nodes or maybe have this kind of set of people or task force that is commenting on this kind of righteous information, but it has very, I think, difficulties are in, for example, the government spreading the right information because it's basically maybe in the edge of the freedom of speech and kind of the violation of it. So we basically need to collaborate with the platforms for this reason. And to do so, Japan, for example, need to have some legal foundation that regulates such platforms. I believe in this term, like the area like the EU, more advanced in regulating the big techs, including social platforms. But Japan, I believe, also need to have some measures to legally, say, approach to such platforms and have like, proper conversation with them so that they can collaborate, together to fight the disinformation. And finally, investment in people is very important because, as I just said earlier, this is the people who will like perceive the information and decide like ultimately whether they will trust the information or not. So again, this is also kind of controversial problem in democratic countries, but it is important not to tell that like what is fake and what is real, but like how you judge it and say to let them understand the logical process and media literacies so that they can like by themselves judge say fake or real and hopefully will be guided to the right side. But I think this is very opportunistic view about the people's literacy. So that's why we need to have the holistic approach to counter this kind of threat, like from various perspectives, so that we ensure that our society and free discussion will be protected.
Okay, Anderson, thank you very much. I see we are facing a big challenge right now.